Hi, everybody. This is Timothy J. Coleman. I'm the Recruitment and Outreach Specialist with Local 669, America's Fire Protection Union. And I am here today doing a recording after a presentation that took place at Constructing Hope, one of the top pre-apprenticeship programs in the country, located in Portland, Oregon. And for the faculty and staff, starting with Executive Director Patricia Daniels, thank you so much for inviting me in this morning, and Barbara and Bobby for all your hard work to put this together, and also the class participants that early morning were just full of energy and a lot of great questions and buckling up for another just full day. So the purpose of this, the recording, is to just give a resource to the class participants that you can quickly fast forward through. There's videos in detail if you want to just pause and just watch, a video at a time. Basically, I want you, as we talked about, to take ownership of your journey of finding your truth as far as where you want to see yourself. What is your dream trade? And we're going to touch base again on a couple different aspects of the building and construction trade specific to America's Fire Protection Union sprinkler fitters, but also some information that is general to all the trades itself. So let's kick off really just with the testimonials of why we're here and the great work that Patricia Daniels and the team at Constructing Hope does, and the impact that you make on your community and your neighbors in Portland by providing a hand up for individuals that are underserved, minorities and individuals that potentially have legal problems or previous legal problems.
Constructing Hope means to me rebuilding lives of people in my community. To have a career in construction is truly life-changing. I don't think many people know the real value of working in construction, how it's also a family-oriented career. So the history of Constructing Hope started in a church, and I was really proud of that because that was also the community making a change. And now from that little spark, we've grown into a magnificent program that has direct entry with the carpenters, several other organizations, union and non-union. So I feel like a real need has been met.
Constructing Hope has impacted my life in a major way. I grew up in LA, and I come from a long line of, gangs, drugs, stuff like that. And I came here to Oregon and got involved with the same lifestyle, same stuff. Ended up going to prison for a long time. And I came out thinking, nobody's gonna give me a job, I'm not gonna go anywhere. And I heard about Constructing Hope. Got a chance, went down there. Basically applied. They called me up and said, look, if you're willing to dedicate yourself, just like a job, be here 6:30, 10 hours a day, then we'd like to have you. I went down there, did it, and it's changed my life in a major way. I've got a brand new baby at home. I own a house now, and chased my dream as a heavy equipment operator. I'm making excellent money now, and it's all because of Constructing Hope gave me a shot.
Constructing Hope has impacted my life in ways that I could have never imagined. They have built my confidence and taught me skills about the construction industry. They've taught me the nature of the business and how to interview in front of a panel. They help people that nobody else will. This is an organization that reaches their hand out to minorities and people with legal histories who are struggling to find a career. Because of Constructing Hope, I am going to be a woman electrician in the IBEW Local 48.
Constructing Hope is...
Well, welcome and thank you. So as I mentioned, my name is Timothy J. Coleman. I'm a recruitment and outreach specialist with America's Fire Protection Union, Local 669, the sprinkler fitters. We handle all incoming water supply into the building and the installation of the overhead automated fire protection systems. We're in the pipe trades. It's not lawn sprinklers, it's a life safety system. There's actually 2,000 different types of sprinkler heads. 80% of what we put in are water systems, but the other 20% could be chemical systems, they could be foam systems, they could be halon systems, they could be gas systems, because not every fire source will be suppressed by water. We've been around since 1915. We have 15,000 women and men in Local 669. And we have jurisdiction in 48 states. That makes us a little bit different. We're what's called a road local. Our brick and mortar local office is actually in Columbia, Maryland, but we have jurisdiction in 47 other states besides Maryland. We're part of what's called the United Association, which is the pipe trades. The United Association is our international. So I'm going to paint the picture that each local is part of something bigger and greater. And the benefit of that is through solidarity and strength in numbers, we're able to represent our workforce and support our membership and their families. So who is the UA, this United Association? It stands for the United Association of Journey Person and Apprentice Welders, Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, Steam Fitters, HVAC refrigeration techs, and sprinkler fitters, commonly called the UA. The UA has been around for over 130 years. The UA is in 300 locations across North America and is comprised of 225 affiliate locals. In our Portland market here, the UA is Local 290. The great Local 290 has jurisdiction throughout the entire state of Oregon. Other states have multiple locals, such as New York as an example, where there are 12 UA locals from the tip of Long Island and Montauk all the way through Erie County, where Local 22 out of Buffalo has jurisdiction. There's 12. 669 is one of the 225 UA locals. We're the largest UA local. The United Association is part of something even bigger. And this is the big umbrella when it comes to the building and construction trades. And that's called the North American Building Trades Union. When I ask, how do you build a commercial building? Who's involved in that? A common response that I get is construction workers. But what do these construction workers do? And more importantly, I want you to understand that there are 15 other pathways for you, because not everybody in this Constructing Hope pre-apprenticeship program is going to become a sprinkler fitter. You may not have an interest of working with pipe. You may not have an interest of working in fire protection. Some may want to be carpenters. Some may want to be laborers. Some may want to be electricians. Some may want to be heavy equipment operators. So there's 15. So here they are. Who makes up the building trades? How do we build this building? The operating engineers, which are the heavy equipment operators, the crane operators, usually the first trade on the job site, the electricians, which is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the teamsters, they bring the product to and they product from the site. One of the original crafts or trades, think about the Egyptians building the pyramids, right, is the bricklayers and masons. The elevator constructors, a very highly sought after multi-craft trade. The International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, painters and glazers. LIUNA, which is the laborers union, it's over 500,000 members in North America. 500,000 members. The plasters and cement masons, the sheet metal workers. We talked about the UA, which is the pipe trades. 370,000 members make up the international. The roofers, waterproofers, and the allied workers, right? So we're talking, there's different types of roofing that happens on commercial buildings. different types of materials, a very technical trade. The Boilermakers, the heat and frost insulators. You talk about sustainable energy reuse. That trade is making an impact on a daily basis. The iron workers have about 170,000 members. And then the United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners. So we all make up the trades, right? We all have different specialties. You know, we all have different crafts. But when you talk about unions, it's more than what we do. The faces of the building trades is who we are. That's the DNA. We're in the people business. So let's watch a short video that was filmed here in Portland just a couple years ago. It talks about, and I want you to just look at the different faces of the trades.
Because school isn't for everybody. I think I got caught up in it where society was like, college, college, college. You have to go to college. If you want to be successful, you have to go to college. I'm $60,000 in debt, and I could have joined this trade out of high school and been debt-free, earned while I learned.
I would say the big difference since I've become a union member is I'm a part of something bigger than myself. You know, when you're non-union, you're always concerned about where the next job is coming from, how you're going to pay for your health care, retirement, your benefits. Everything is on your shoulders solely and completely.
It's been a world of a difference between non-union and union, just in terms of work environment, the safety culture, and not to mention better pay with the union, the benefits package with the health care and the services that they offer.
Well, as a minority in the labor union, there's no limit to what you can make. There's no limit to where you can go in the field. And it's not like there's a ceiling when you get in. It's like, all right, you start at the bottom, now go up.
Okay, so as we continue our conversation, I really think it's important that we understand, you know, where we came from. So I'm going to short a short video here about an event that took place in 1911, and this is where the sprinkler fitters and fire protection came from, but also really the jump start, right? The focus, the drive. You know, the drive and where did the momentum come from for organized labor?
The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire was a man-made disaster, a tragedy of the industrial age, made all the worse because it could have been prevented. Let me set the scene. New York City, early 20th century. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory occupied several floors of a Manhattan business building called the Ash Building. It was located just off Washington Square Park, one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the city. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory was, by almost any definition, a sweatshop. It was a densely packed place. Some 500 people worked there, and the work schedule was punishing. 11 to 12 hours a day, every day. Most of the people employed at the factory were young immigrant women, teenagers even, who didn't speak English. These women sat at long tables, day in, day out, sewing shirtwaists. Shirtwaists were mass-produced blouses. They resembled men's shirts and were very popular with working women. So here's what happened. March 25th, 1911, Saturday evening, the end of the workday, the work week. A fire started in a bin of cotton scraps, perhaps from a cigarette butt. A manager tried to use a hose to put it out, but the hose valve was rusted shut and the hose itself was rotted away. The factory floor didn't have a sprinkler system, so the fire spread quickly. People panicked. The building had only one flimsy fire escape, and it wasn't nearly big enough. It collapsed. The building had 4 elevators, but only one was working, and it only held 12 people at a time. It managed to make 4 rescue trips before it broke down. Some desperate workers jumped to their deaths down the elevator shaft. Workers tried to take the stairs, but the exit doors only opened inward, and they were kept locked by factory management. Many people were crushed to death trying to get out. Firefighting technology hadn't caught up to the new tall buildings of a city like New York. The fire hoses and ladders could only reach the 7th floor, 1 floor short of the fire. Dozens of desperate workers jumped out of the windows. They chose to die from the fall instead of the flames. Other workers burned to death or died from smoke inhalation. The whole episode lasted just 18 minutes. 144 people were dead. 2 more died later in the hospital, bringing the death toll to 146. Until the events of September 11th, it was the deadliest workplace disaster in New York City history. Days later, on April 5th, a massive funeral protest march took place on 5th Avenue in Manhattan. More than 350,000 people were in attendance. The factory owners, Max Planck and Isaac Harris, were indicted for manslaughter, but were declared not guilty in their trial later that year. Yet, long after the flames died out, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire served as a cautionary tale that helped to redefine the American industrial workplace. The fire was a key moment in the growth of labor unions, particularly the ILGWU, or International Ladies Garment Workers Union. New York City passed measures including the Sullivan-Hoey Fire Prevention Law, which required sprinkler systems to be installed in all factories. It served as a model for state and national workplace safety codes. These measures made American workers safer, but they were too late for the workers who perished one terrible March day at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory.
So Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, right? What have we learned from that? The workday ended late at night. The work week ended on a Saturday. Who perished in this fire? Young immigrant women and children, right? We're talking 9, 10, 11 years old. So if you go back to the History Channel on YouTube and you put in birth of the labor movement during the Industrial Revolution, you will see signage. It will say things like, why pay a man $1 a day when you can pay a woman or a child 10 cents? 350,000 people that protested. So what's the result? Things that we take for granted. Child labor laws, thank you, union. OSHA, thank you, union. Fire codes, thank you, union. Minimum wage, thank you, union. The weekend, thank you, union. So these are things that people fought for with blood, sweat, and tears. Because what we do, we're about people, representing people, balancing the power between the manufacturer that wants to lock their doors and have fire escapes that don't work, and the workers that are making things happen, that are turning the profits for that organization. What else do unions do? And I want to get into this because this is important. Remember, there's 15 trades, North American Building Trades Union, 3.5 million workers. The UA, my international is part of that. There's 370,000, and my local is 15,000. We all have what's called, all of us, all the trades have what's called registered apprenticeship programs. Apprenticeship is a word today in 2021, right? And I guarantee if you pick up the paper, today's August the 4th, 2021, and you look up apprenticeship, and you're going to see a lot of apprenticeships that really are sketch, right? Just because you have a van, a set of tools, or the word apprenticeship doesn't mean that it's a registered and authentic apprenticeship program. So there's a lot of words that are misused today. Apprenticeship's one of them. You know, just to make my point, here's another one, multitasking. Got to multitask. Doing multiple things at the same time. Well, yeah, that's fine and dandy. We can balance things like that, I guess, and do things, but the brain can only focus on one thing at a time. That's why texting and driving is illegal. The brain eater is focused on texting or driving, not both. Right? So a registered apprenticeship program is different than an apprenticeship program. They've been around for over 100 years. They go back to 1937 when the Fitzgerald Act was passed. We are America's best kept secret. Union apprenticeship programs is a collaboration between organized labor, which is the unions, the contractors, the business owners, and training committees. And what do I mean by registered? Well, our curriculum is registered with the federal and state Department of Labors, right? So in Oregon, the Bureau of Labor and Industries. Let's say in New York, it's with the New York State Department of Labor, and then also the federal DOL. And that curriculum is designed for our apprentices to develop knowledge and work experience so they can become and receive the industry standard, the gold standard, which is called being a journey person. Right? Just like at Constructing Hope, the curriculum is designed and approved so you receive a certificate of completion, right? You become a graduate, right? Instead of just showing up when you want, maybe I'll take this class or this class. No, to graduate, you have to meet the standard. 15 trades, right? Some trades are 3-year programs, some are 4, some are 5. The United Association, again, that's the pipe trades, including the sprinkler fitters, is a 5-year program. They're earned while you learn. So it's not an internship where you're not paid. It's not job shadowing. You learn by doing. And if you're like me, you like to learn that way. The job site is the classroom. Your teacher are journey persons. Those are subject matter experts that have been in the field, have been in the trade, have been in the craft, right? That are subject matter experts in their discipline and in their craft. So on the job training, you're going to have 10,000 hours of on the job training over the course of 5 years. You're also going to have technical instruction to the tune of 1,200 hours of technical instruction. And that's broken into 2 components. The first component is virtual training. You're going to take 19 courses online over that 5-year period, which is 124 lessons, a commitment of 8 to 10 hours a month. And you're going to go to sprinkler fitter school. You're going to go 18 times a year. And we have our training center here at Clark Community in Vancouver. And we will be opening up once we get through this COVID, just like your center, Constructing Hope, is in the process of being built out. Our second training center near the airport in Portland will be opening up in early 2022. 18 times a year, basically every other week. Some of the trades have what's called block training, where for a certain number of weeks, every single day, you're going to go for your technical instruction. Ours is broken up, right? In addition, and I didn't mention this too, the installation of these systems, whether it's the piping system, the pumps, the microcontrol systems, we have to go back, test, inspect, maintain, and repair the systems. So sprinkler fitters, we're typically one of the trades that's always working because we have to go back and continue to maintain these sophisticated systems. Now, I want you to think about this. If the North American Building Trades Union was a university, we would be the largest university system in the country. We invested in the middle of a pandemic, $1.8 billion in training and education. The UA itself, the pipe trades, invested $300 million. So to put that even further perspective, if NAPTU was a university, it would be 5 times larger than University of Oregon and Oregon State combined. 5 times larger. So imagine combining those 2 football fields, right? Just to get a visual on that when you're watching Saturday college football. 5 times larger than those 2 universities combined. So that's what we do. We train, we develop apprentices, we develop union members in union households. Our program's designed that every 6 months as you gain knowledge and work experience, you pick up rank. You go from an apprentice 1 to an apprentice 2. All the trades are similar with that, different step levels. So it's like climbing a ladder. And when you do that, guess what happens to your pay? You move up $2 an hour to eventually when you journey out and you become recognized throughout the world as a journey person. In addition, you're going to earn college credits without any debt. We pay for your books, we pay for your tools. In the UA, you're going to earn 40 college credit hours. With the sprinkler fitters, you're going to be basically 3 classes short of a 2-year degree in construction technology. Can you imagine that as a game changer? Right? Just by doing our program. So let's check in with Morpheus here, and he's going to tee us off for the next part of this presentation, where we're going to talk about the truth.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
A lot of times we find our truth by unlearning what we thought was true, right? We unlearn things that were false. Well, here's one thing that was false when we talk about truth. Maybe you heard this: the only way to be successful is to get a white-collar job and a 4-year degree. That's been the messaging in schools for the last 3 decades. Well, the reality is 60% of Americans do not have college degrees. But yet, if you're in the education system, for the most part, and I think it's changing, right? And I see that, especially with Secretary Walsh and President Biden in office, are really the emphasis for the trades. But I don't want you to think that that's the only way to be successful. We're going to talk about the truth in the next couple slides as far as how you can join the middle class, how you can navigate your journey to find your dream. Right? And you don't need to follow that false lie that that's the only way to be successful. The other part about that is there's 43 million Americans today that currently carry a significant student loan debt. And on average, they owe over $19,000, which is a payment of about $380 a month. And the other thing about some of these jobs that these career paths are putting people into is there are no job growth, right? They're flat. Or they're what I call the low wage lagoon. They don't offer that minimum wage, right? So here's another unlearning what we maybe were told before and finding the truth. And I want everybody to repeat after me. You don't fail into construction. You don't fail into construction. You don't fail into construction, right? So the thought process is that, I tried this, I tried that, I went here, I went there, I went around the block a couple times, and I'll try construction. There's nothing else for me to do. As if this is like the second tier or it's the last house on the block. So let's talk gears. Let's talk about, not failing into construction. So we watched the history of where the sprinkler fitters came from, just so you could see representation, right? Safety. Those are things that the unions on the behalf of our workforce that are so important to us. When I talk about representation, what I mean there is it doesn't matter what you believe, what your religion is, what your sex is, what your gender is, what your sexual identity is, what your race is. Doesn't matter. If you're an apprentice one, you're paid the exact same as all other apprentice ones. If you're a journey person, you're paid the exact same thing. That's called wage equity. What labor unions do, and what we do in the building trades at NAPTU, the UA, and Local 669, through the collective bargaining process, where the contractor has said that the union can negotiate on behalf of each worker. And we do that again. That's why those numbers I mentioned are important, is when we are representing 15,000 workers. The UA represents 370,000, the building trades in 3.5 million. So we have leverage. Under collective bargaining, we focus on three things: living wage, benefits for our members and families, and the opportunity to retire with dignity. Right? So that's the pathway, right? The pathway, you're on the bus. It's a windy road. It's your journey, and you're trying to find success. You're trying to get into the middle class. You're finding success for you and your family. Right? And we saw, and it's important. That's why we showed that video that kicked off with Miss Daniels, and we had some testimonials of the proud graduates of Constructing Hope that talked about being homeowners, that talked about raising a family. Right? So what keeps people off of that pathway to success? What are the detours, the loopholes, the exits? Well, here's one. The average age of minimum wage workers today is 35. So the argument that, if we raise the minimum wage, it's going to impact all these teenagers, that's false. The average age of minimum wage workers is 35. 50% of women and people of color are employed in low wage industries. 50%. But guess what? You all, in the middle of a pandemic, are busting your butt. You showed up this morning before 7 o'clock, for the presentation that we did at Constructing Hope, because you want to learn. You want to take control of your journey, right? You're hungry. You want it. Okay. You don't have to settle for the minimum wage jobs. You're learning skills at Constructing Hope. It is a pathway into construction. And guess what? There's seats on the bus because of baby boomers. 78% of the UA, remember that's 370,000 members, is over the age of 53. Did you know that the average age of a welder, whether it's manufacturing, fabrication, the trades, automotive, the average age is 56. Baby boomers are going to be exiting the workforce at a rapid rate. We have a need right now nationwide of over 780,000 workers in construction. And guess what? President Biden is pushing through his #1 initiative, and that's an infrastructure package. That number is going to go through the roof. You all are one step ahead of the game. Build back better. It's coming. So let's talk more about that living wage. And again, I'm going to give you some numbers that are specific to Local 669, but there's 15 trades that are all fighting under collective bargaining for a living wage for their members. So if people say, you know what, I get it, 1911, garment, triangle, shirtwaist, fire, really important then, unions are important then, but we don't need them today. Let me ask you this. What do you think the cost of housing has done in the last 20 years? It's gone up 32%. What about the cost of food? It's gone up 28%. What about the cost of transportation? It's gone up about 30%. What about the cost of technology, right? Cell phones, internet. It's gone up about 30%. What about the cost of healthcare premiums? It's gone up 73%. Right? That's why that was a huge initiative for President Obama. You put all the stuff away, it's gone up 78% in the last 20 years. What about wages? Well, the top elite, top 5%, it's gone up about 30%. Top 50%, on average, top 50%, it's gone up about 12%. Top 20%, or top bottom 20%. Bottom 20%. It's gone up about 3%. Wages have not cut pace with the cost of living. Throw it another way, right? There's an indicator here about here's a living wage. What does it cost to afford a 2-bedroom apartment? Well, in Portland, it's $25.57. In San Francisco, $60 an hour. That's the high end. New York City, $34.40. Right. So if that household is not earning that, then they're below the living wage. There are 23 million Americans today that live below the federal poverty level. There's another 46 million, and that number is probably higher because of the pandemic. There's another 46 million that are called ALICE households. ALICE is an acronym that stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed. Working women and men, that working household trying to make ends meet, that no matter how many jobs they have, their wages collectively are below the living wage. So at the end of the month, money runs out. At the end of the month, decisions have to be made, whether it's healthcare, whether it's food, whether it's housing, transportation. It becomes a snowball effect. We fight for a living wage. After the first year, you're going to earn $23.58 an hour. Remember, every 6 months you pick up rank, you get an increase. After year 2, $27.58. Year 3, $31.58. Year 4, $35.58 an hour. The 5th year, $39.58. You journey out. When you do that, you're earning $42.15 an hour. And then there's opportunity above that, being a supervisor, being a general supervisor, being a master supervisor. Add on about $3 to $5 for each of those steps, depending on how much leadership responsibility you have. But a journey person at $42.15 an hour, do the math. That's a living wage. That's a pathway to success. The other exit, detour, loophole, getting off the track, is not having benefits. And I'm talking medical, dental, vision, prescription benefits, and not having a retirement. So let's talk about benefits. Our benefit package with Local 669 has a value of $25.55 an hour. I'm talking those medical, dental, vision, prescription benefits. And when we talk about a journey person earning $42.15 an hour, right here, that's what's in the check. The benefits are on top of that. The benefits are on top of that. And our contractors pay for that. The third aspect is the ability to retire with dignity. If you're like me, you know somebody that's in their 70s that's working because they have to. What do you think is better than one retirement plan? The answer is 2. We have 2 pension programs. The first one, you're going to get $115 a month for every year that you work, right? So here is the math on that. And you can do your own math, you know, but use this as your template on how do you get to the answer. We're going to look at this right here. $115 a month for every year that you work. Let's say you work 35 years. You multiply 35 times 115, that's $4,040 a month, times 12 months in a year. That's $48,300 a year. The second is what's called a SIS. It's like a 401k. Our contractors contribute $7.83 an hour into your fund. Well, let's take 783, multiply that by 40 hours in a week, multiply that by 52 weeks in a year, and we're going to use that same 35 years. You do your math on how many years you're going to be working so you can come up with your own. Okay, this is what I'm looking at. But just that simple math that we just did there from the contractor only contribution That turns into $570,000. Now, let's say you're going to contribute of your own money $1 an hour. So you can multiply that by 40 times 52 weeks in a year times 35 years. Add that to this number and then throw in some compounding interest rate, and you'll see that with compounding interest, that number is going to increase to over $800,000. That's the game changer, right? That's why Cornell University cited last year in the Wall Street Journal that the #1 pathway into the middle class over the last 100 years has been union apprenticeship programs. Why? Because of living wage, benefits for our members and families, and the opportunity to retire with dignity. So let's shift gears and let's talk specific about 669. Right? So I'm going to show a video here. You're going to follow around 6 union apprentices on the job site, in the classroom, and you're going to see what we do instead of me just talking about it. Then I'm going to show you some drone videos from large commercial construction projects across the country, including a Amazon distribution center.
Across the country, great opportunities exist for motivated individuals looking to begin a career as a sprinkler fitter through the UA Sprinkler Fitters Local Union 669 Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee. What is a sprinkler fitter? A piping specialist, highly trained to install life safety systems. The principal function of a sprinkler fitter is the installation of fire protection systems. This includes underground supply piping, which is connected to an integrated overhead piping system for suppression of fire. Do you have what it takes to be a sprinkler fitter?
Yeah, to me it is a real good feeling to know that, I mean, just in case there was a fire or something like that, that I could possibly save lives.
Every day is different for an apprentice sprinkler fitter. It's a dynamic career that calls for consistently implementing new approaches to problem solving. You're about to meet a group of real-world sprinkler fitter apprentices from across the country. These men and women are members of the UA Sprinkler Fitters Local Union 669 Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee, an advanced nationwide education and training program designed for today's advanced construction industry. These apprentices, and others like them, work on some of the largest and most important projects in the world, from hospitals and airports to massive data centers and nuclear facilities.
The day in the life of a sprinkler fitter. You know, I get up early.
I usually wake up around 5:30.
4:30 to 5:30, and that's depending on start time, distance from my house to the job.
Hit the road, drive about 40 minutes here, and start my day at 6.
Get there before on time, so 15 minutes early. You know, open the gang box and kind of find the plan for what the day is going to be. The current job site I'm on is pretty big. It's a parking garage right now, the levels are, and then there's office on top of that.
We're currently working on an industrial building that has a couple levels of office space.
Today I'm working in a fab shop. Typically what happens in a fab shop is you would cut, thread, or groove pipe required for a specific job.
Today on the job site, I actually set dimension lines for hanging branch lines. I also put some branch lines up as well.
We're working on installing a fire sprinkler system on one of the floors, roughing it in, getting it ready for future. You're not doing the same thing over and over. So, I mean, you can be doing one thing tomorrow and in a totally different part of the building and doing something else the next day.
These young men and women are receiving their training through the UA Sprinkler Fitters Local Union 669 Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee. This 5-year training program prepares apprentices to become highly skilled sprinkler fitters. And though all of these apprentices receive continuous on-the-job training, they are also required to complete 5 consecutive years of rigorous classroom instruction as part of their training program. In addition to the classroom training, apprentices must also complete rigorous coursework at home. This work must be completed on the apprentice's own personal time.
Our training class is on Saturdays, and we have 18 Saturday classes that we have to go to a year. They're 8 hours long.
We learn about different topics. I mean, as far as valves, or it can be something to as small as material like a nut and washer, or what that is. I mean, everything in that aspect is key to being successful. I mean, you got to know what those things are. You have some days where it's all classroom, and you have some days where it's hands-on. You're doing projects, you're talking to your fellow classmates and interacting and stuff like that.
In the training center, you might read about it, watch a video about it, but until you actually physically install a piece of pipe or drill a hanger, drill a hole, whatever, you're not gonna really know how that works.
Yeah, I was in school for a while, and I would say the difference between going to a university and coming to the sprinkler fitter school is I actually want to be there. I actually want to learn.
You're in the field doing it as you learn it. And that to me is very important. You can learn all day, but if you're not doing it, it's very difficult to transition that.
Another benefit apprentices can look forward to after completing their apprenticeship is receiving 32 college credits that they can use to further advance their career.
From here, you have a lot of different avenues. You know the trade, you learn the trade, and you can expand on that and move forwards.
I've definitely gotten a lot more hands-on experience. Like, they'll give me a print and here's your material, like, get this in, or you know what to do.
So basically what I'm doing now is I'm taking sprinkler heads, prepping them to get ready to put into the pipe up top. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put some dope on the end of this, on the threads. Once I dope that, I'm gonna put the sprinkler head into a bushing. And then I'm also gonna dope the threads on this to make it go in easier and seal.
So after you get the pipe, you would place it on the saw and measure it to whatever length is on the cut sheet. Make sure it's secure and cut it. After you're done threading or grooving the pipe, you would load it onto a truck and send to the job.
The biggest thing about getting in the lift and going up was when it wobbles. That was more of an eerie feeling for me. Now it's just second nature.
I feel like being a sprinkler fitter does help save lives.
If there's a disaster, you're helping people out. That's something to be proud of to me.
I mean, I look at it as we're saving our families. If our families are in a burning building, I would hope that somebody had installed that fire protection right, so then it works efficiently for that.
Our work is extremely important to do properly. If someone were to install a system wrong, however way they do it, and it doesn't operate like it should when there is a fire, and there could be property damage, but there could be people who could die because of that. So, it's extremely important to do your job.
A lot of the training also comes from the guys you work with that have also been through the program. And so a lot of that is very helpful.
Yeah, the journeymen I've worked throughout the years, I mean, they've pretty much coached me. If I had a question, they would show me and actually take the time to break it down.
Most guys are pretty willing to try to teach you a way if you apply yourself. They see that you're interested and you want to learn more.
When you're working with a guy for however long, eventually you form that bond, and where it's kind of like a big brother, little brother type of thing.
The value the journeymen bring to the job site is unmeasurable.
They take care of you. They help you through your tough times and whatnot.
The journey doesn't end with becoming a journey person. Sprinkler fitters can continue on to a number of other opportunities within the trade, such as becoming foremen, superintendents, project managers, designers, inspectors, instructors, or even owners of their own companies.
As long as you have an open mind, you're not set in your ways, and you're willing to learn, it's there.
The day of a sprinkler fitting apprentice is challenging, but at the end of the day, it's also gratifying. These young men and women know their work is important, having helped to ensure that the potentially tragic consequences of a fire never become a reality. More information is available online at Training 669.
Right there, folks. training669.org. That's the site that you're going to go to. There are 6 videos at Training 669. We just watched Day in the Life. There's another one called Women in Construction. There's another one for military transition. That's also where you're going to go to start the process to fill out a profile. I'll get into that very shortly. Okay, so I promise you that I'm going to show some drone videos. And these are from large projects. So if you ever wondered as you drive by a construction site, what goes on inside, you're going to have an opportunity to see inside the envelope. So I do want you to kind of key in on, let's see here, spotlight. All right, you're going to see this video here. This purpose here is I want you to see all these hangers. That's where our pipe is going to go. All right, so that's some of the type of work that we're doing, right? Right, so you're saying, hey, those are big hangers. Well, it's some big pipe. Are all buildings this size? No, right? But think about it. We have to be able to deliver the same fire protection on the very top floor as we do on the bottom floor. So that's requiring some large pieces of pipe, enormous pumps, sophisticated microcontrol systems. All right, and there's a lot of other stuff that goes into that, of course. All right, but that's basically the bottom line. Are all buildings this size? Absolutely not. Okay, but this is some of the large commercial work that we're doing. Okay. Oh, there's our pipe. Okay. And I've got one more here. This is actually from a medical center, and then we're going to jump over to an Amazon. So we typically go in right before the sheet metal workers do, and we take precedence because it's by fire code, right? So the architects are going to tell us exactly where our sprinkler heads need to go. And now this is this pipe right here, right? These pipes. Got the ductwork in there, right? So as we go through, and I'm going to turn the video back on, you're gonna see, you know, the before this building is finished, the sprinkler system. There's a lot that when you start peeling away the onion and the panels that you're building as far as what's behind the walls. And here we go. Okay, so this is an Amazon build. Oh, there's that pipe. See if we can get him to smile and look at the drone. All right, a lot of overhead lifting. Safety is paramount. He's smiling at the drone saying, get the hell away from me, or so I'm going to take you down. Okay. All right. So that's a little bit about, more about what we're doing out in the field on a daily basis. But I've got another short video clip that I want to share with you. Because we work for pay and benefits, right?
What can I do for you, Rod? You just tell me, what can I do for you?
It's a very personal, very important thing. Hell, it's a family motto. Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money. Jerry, does that make you feel good just to say that? Say it with me one time, Jerry.
Show you the money.
Oh, no, you can do better than that, Jerry. I want you to say it with meaning, brother. Hey, I got Bob Sugar on the other line. I better hear you say it.
No. Show you the money.
Not show you. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Yeah. Louder.
Show me the money.
That's it, brother, but you got to yell that shit.
Show me the money.
I need to feel you, Jerry.
Show me the money.
Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
Okay, so base rate 1958 an hour every 6 months, $2 an hour increase. Journey person 42.15, benefit package 25.55. Right, it's hard work. Right, we work for pay and benefits, but it's not just about money, right? It's not just about money. And I want to show a quick little video. And again, some of these videos you're gonna fast forward through. But we save lives. You go back to where we came from in 1911 with the Triangle Shirtwaist fires, where 146 women died in 18 minutes. There was no fire protection. We're a life safety system. The only one that, when installed properly, has never had a fatality. Think about HVAC, another craft in the pipe trades in the UA. Air quality. How important is that today? We're in the middle of this global pandemic, this airborne infectious disease. How important do you think HVAC ventilation systems are in hospitals, in buildings, in schools, in churches, in nursing homes, right? How important do you think it's going to be in the future? Think about that vaccine, the ones from Moderna and Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. And there's so many others that are out there that came from like the Cleveland Clinic, Jefferson Medical, Stanford. A lot of them have to be refrigerated. So refrigeration in buildings, refrigeration in rail, refrigeration in trucking. So the whole logistics network had to be refrigerated. Think about food and food quality. Think about global warming and the heat dome that we went through here in the Pacific Northwest and continuing to go through. So from an air conditioning standpoint, think about the statement that President Biden recently made when addressing and talking about the infrastructure package. It's on the cusp of historical legislation that President Biden does not want any family, any person to have to drink water out of a pipe that has lead in it. So the United Association, our mantra, our motto, our call to duty is we give back in our communities. We protect our nation. So here's a quick video that's talking just about water quality, right? And we're on the front lines of this.
Lead in the drinking water in Flint, Michigan leaves children at high risk for learning and behavioral problems. Disneyland shuts down bacteria-contaminated cooling towers after cases of Legionnaire's disease are discovered in people who had visited the park. 13 people died, and at least 61 residents and staff are sickened when Legionellosis is detected in a veterans home in Illinois. New reports reveal that nearly 3,000 jurisdictions are facing water quality problems worse than Flint.
What is it? Is it the lead? Is it the Legionnaires? Is it the chemicals? And the answer is yes. The emerging water crisis in America is revealing itself every single day.
To address America's water problems and to help find solutions, the UA created a pilot water quality program in 8 cities.
We needed to put together a policy brief to educate ourselves, to educate our unions, to educate our contractors, and to educate industry. We needed a certification program. The first certification is we're going to certify our contractors. Those contractors need to have the fundamentals in order to understand what they're selling. The second certification for our members.
It's a definite need out there. Water quality is very, very important throughout the country, and it's starting to be mandated by Medicare and Medicaid, and we feel as though we want to be on the front lines of that.
The water quality issue cuts across all crafts because sprinkler lines can infect somebody, cooling towers can affect somebody, so any UA craftsman, the service tech, the pipe fitter, the sprinkler fitter needs to be involved so that we can map systems, audit systems, monitor systems, and also the most important thing is to verify the work that's been done and then validate.
If you go to YouTube and you go to the United Association Apprenticeship, you will find a host of videos in our YouTube video library. Just like going to Training 669 takes you to 6 videos, they're all on YouTube. So as we just really kind of slide into closing here, let me talk about the process. Some of the trades will pre-test. We don't. You may have to take a math test with some of them, we don't. Some you take a test and then you have an interview, and the apprenticeship program starts in June. Starts once a year. We have what's called open enrollment, and a number of trades do as well, where you can start throughout the year, right? And we do that, one, because of this vast virtual training that we have, that we develop because we're a road local, but other just to fit the needs of our signatory contractors. So you're going to go to that Training 669, and I'm going to show that website, and it's actually in the chat box as well. After you watch some videos, you're going to go to Get Started. And all you do, it takes you 3 to 4 minutes. You fill out your contact information. Based on your zip code, your profile will go to every single signatory contractor within a 100-mile radius. The contractor, in our case, remember, we're a road local with a brick and mortar local in Columbia, Maryland. The contractors hold the list. So here's what I offer, and I want you to take advantage of this, is that do you have an interest in becoming a sprinkler fitter and you're a Constructing Hope pre-apprentice? I want you to reach out to me and say, hey, Tim, I want you to allow me to help you, because I'll get your information to our business agent who knows which contractors have a need, because some don't. Some are mom and pop, they're member owner, and they're not looking to grow. Others are mid-size, others are large, some are public corporations. So he knows who's working on what. So that's going to help us fine-tune the process to ensure that you don't get lost in the weeds, right? So allow me to help you. So take ownership. Go to training669.org, watch a couple videos, and go to Get Started. It's pretty simple. And I'm going to give everybody time to take a photo of this slide. And here's my contact information. Text me at this
que se enteren como yo te quiero y como tú me quieres. Deja que nos miren. Cuando te enamores no te quejes. Deja que mi alma brille.
Dime qué hago contigo. No me des pena por mi vida, te lo pido. De verdad no tengo miedo, pero ahora es cuando quiero.
Que me dejes que te mire y que te beses si es que puedo.
Tú eres una necesidad y solo con un par de besos tú puedes derretir mi fuego, puedes incendiar mi mar. Si no me das un beso ya, tu boca se la lleva el viento. Y como le digo lo siento a este cuerpo que quiere hablar. Tú eres la casualidad más hermosa que me trajo el cielo. ¿Quién digo que yo estoy despierto si no paro de soñar? Si no me das un beso ya, tu boca se la lleva el viento. Y como le digo lo siento a este cuerpo que quiere amar.
Deja que te bese. Deja que te bese, deja que lo intente. Deja que te invite a que te enamores de esta noche. Una noche aquí entre miles.
Me he enamorado, nunca lo olvides. No ha sido fácil porque muero en tus perfiles. Me has atrapado, no te confíes.
Deja que te bese, te prometa y deja que te olvide.
Tú eres una necesidad y solo con un par de besos